Well, good morning, teachers. Here we go, week 15. All right, this week we're looking at vehicles and transportations. So we're looking at different kinds of energy sources that are used, which ones are clean, which ones are dirty, how can we reduce our uh, global warming by the way that we power our vehicles. And at the end, the kids are going to calculate their own carbon footprint. So again, looking at our UN sustainable goals, all right, we have a lot this week. Clean water, obviously we want um, clean water, and some of that can be produced by our vehicles that we use and the emissions they put out. Obviously, affordable and clean energy. Okay, um, lots of things here that we want to discuss. So, just reminding kids that our ultimate goal is to continue looking at the UN goals and aligning ourselves to what their vision is for 2020, not 2021. Also, make an announcement to the kids that tonight, all right, on Wednesday, Ethan Weed, maybe you guys remember him. Now that he is a alumni from us and is moving on with his life, he's actually going to give a webinar, okay, tonight at 6 o'clock. All right, it's headed up by Miss Johnson. So please look into that. All right, it's pretty interesting. Tell the kids to go check it out. Now, opening up with a video here from Delhi. It's pretty interesting. They have a huge issue over there with smog. It's so bad that it is said that between 50 and 100,000 people die per year prematurely because of the smog. So this is just a video explaining some of the struggles and problems that exist out there. Not much on solutions, but a little bit there. We'll be getting to solutions. So the next video goes into a little more depth about the science of what is air pollution. What are the molecules in the air? What are the fine particulate particles that are in the air that actually cause respiratory and heart issues? Okay. Now, I want you guys to have a little few minutes with your students to talk about the videos that you just saw. Okay. And I have some talking points for you. All right. How do you get around town? What are the primary sources that you use? And some interesting facts I got from the EPA, it is found that for every gallon of fuel burned, so if it's gasoline, right, for every gallon of gas that you burn in your vehicle, you produce 8,887 grams of carbon dioxide. That's CO2, right? And for every gallon of diesel that's burned, there's 10,180 grams of carbon dioxide produced. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of grams. And we all know that we don't just burn 1 gallon of fuel in our car. We actually burn lots of gallons in our fuel in our car. So now we're going to get into talking about what are some alternative sources of fuel that exists out there. And this one is particularly for public transportation. So we're looking at mass transit. What can be done to reduce our diesel-powered buses? Okay, and this is a couple case studies of some cities where they actually use hybrid, they use electric, or they use CNG, compressed natural gas, to power us. And you might notice that even the city of New Haven has a few school buses that come to our own school. I noticed them last year when I was doing the parking lot duty. That we actually have a few buses that say CNG on the side of them. They're super quiet. They're compressed natural gas buses. They don't run on gasoline. It's pretty interesting. Here's a video on cars of the future. What will the cars of the future be powered on? Will it be battery operated? Will they be hydrogen powered? All right, will it be biodiesel? That's the corn. Will it be biodiesel or electricity, okay, or gasoline? So what will the cars of our future be powered on? Okay, it's pretty interesting that hydrogen, um, even though it's expensive right now, is pretty um, set and ready to go as a primary source of energy, and it's a really good one. It's actually maybe cleaner than any other options that are out there, even more clean than electricity, but it does have its struggles. So you're gonna watch that video and look at what is the most reliable, dependable, likely candidate for vehicles in the future. This one here is an interesting video because, as you know, maybe if you're a car person or not a car person, there's definitely a lot of debate around battery operated vehicles and gasoline operated vehicles. Which one's actually better for the environment? Maybe you didn't know this that it exists, but I'm a car person, and there is a lot of debate about it. So EV stands for electric vehicle. ICE, ICE stands for internal combustion engine, meaning gasoline or diesel, right? Internal combustion engine. Which one's actually cleaner for the truth? Because believe it or not, EV cars are not that green. And this video actually goes into good scientific numerical depth without going too deep for our kids about which one's actually better for the environment. All right, because if you didn't know, the mining of lithium to make the batteries for Tesla vehicles or any electric vehicles is actually really bad for the environment, really bad. So he goes into the calculations of uh, how much carbon, all right, is actually released into the atmosphere in just the production of the batteries, and then the recycling, disposal of the batteries in the end, versus a gasoline car. It's actually pretty interesting, and you'll see this from the video, that from day one, if you just buy a brand new gasoline car comparatively to a brand new battery operated car, from day one, battery powered cars, EV cars, are worse for the environment than gasoline cars from day one if you drive it straight from the lot. However, over a period of time, the gasoline cars catch up and then pass out the EV cars. So it'll explain that in here, okay? But it's good for discussion because I know there's a lot of debate. I've had quite a few debates with my own family, my own friends about this topic many a times. So that's not all. There's more. Not only do we produce greenhouse gases and pollution in our air from our vehicles, but Discovery News here goes on to explain how else our transportation is not just in our engines, it's in our wheels, it's in the roads, it's in our brakes. That actually also produces air pollution, and those issues also need to be addressed because if you're not a car person again, when you apply your brakes, it creates dust, very very fine dust that gets in our air. It's actually very bad for you to breathe in too. Now, here's a site we were going to have the kids do it, but it's actually a little bit too complicated for them. So I did an example for them. This is Mr. Max car comparison. So in 2019, I bought my family a brand new Chrysler Pacifica, and I compared using this app the carbon footprint of my new minivan to a equivalent 2019 Tesla Model S, which is a battery car. So, right, obviously my car is a gasoline car. It's a gasoline minivan, and I compared it to a Tesla Model S because there are no battery operated minivans that were on the market at the time this app that was available. Okay, so the Model S is the biggest, you know, sedan that they had available in this time frame. Okay, it's also the long range one, which also means they have an extra big battery. So I compared them using this app to calculate which one's better for the environment. So you'll notice that my car is the yellow car, okay? It's the ICE car, it's the internal combustion engine. The blue car is the Tesla car, it's the EV car, okay? From day one, okay, year one, okay, my car, the yellow car again, produces, okay, less greenhouse gases than a Tesla because of the production to go into making a Tesla is so much worse for the environment in a form of carbon footprint than a gasoline car. And for the first 1 year, 2 year, 2 and 3/4 years, okay, according to my driving pattern, okay, because we do about 20,000 miles a year in our van, the minivan, it has a better carbon footprint for the first 2 and 3/4 years of its life. But you'll notice that after that, minivan that I purchased actually becomes worse for the environment because the Model S, the EV car, well, why does it keep growing here? Well, because here in Connecticut, our energy comes from coal plants, it comes from non-renewable resources. Okay, so it does have a carbon footprint that does impact the environment, but not as bad as my gasoline-powered minivan. So that is interesting. That the first couple of years, most uh, traditional gas-powered cars, even diesel cars, diesel trucks and stuff like that, are better for the environment than a EV car. But over the course of its lifetime, they do pass each other out. So as long as you keep your car on the road past a certain period of time, you do become greener for the environment. That's all based on slide 10 with the movie that we watch. And then I went and used this app that's very uh, reliable. So the challenge for the students this week is to track and monitor and to calculate their own carbon footprint. I have down here an uh, an app. Okay, it's actually an online calculator. All right, it's part of their challenge. It's in the uh, Word document that we created for them. They're going to click on this link. They're going to type in some information about their life, and it's going to pop up how many trees it would take to offset their yearly production of carbon. So in the model for the students that we do, I did some calculations for my family, and I modeled it to the kids there in their document. But my family needs an equivalent of 887 trees to offset my family's carbon footprint. So I would have to plant 887 new trees every year to offset my family's carbon footprint. So each kid is going to do the calculation, and they're going to come up with what their carbon footprint is, and then do a comparison of it. Okay, that's the plan. Teachers, have a great day. If you have any questions, always feel free and ask me, okay?